Yuki Aino may have bitten off a bit more than she can chew. Kaiju have tough meat. I am Chris with the Joshi Wrestling Recap for TJPW April 9th, 2022, available on Wrestle Universe. This card felt like the beginning of the new stories TJPW would tell after they had their big Grand Princess show last month. New tag teams were set up, and the wrestler hierarchy got a bit of a shakeup. The show included title matches for both the Princess of Princess title and the Princess Tag titles, and was fun throughout. This was a multi-camera show with both English and Japanese commentary, and the Up Girls opened the show like normal with a song and dance. We start with a fun tag match, Palm Harajuku with Moka Miyamoto versus Harinu Neko and Kei Toribami. It felt like the cat and bird team of Neko and Toribami is a regular team, and I hope they keep tagging together. The beginning of this match was fun. Palm Harajuku and Harinu Neko started for their teams and had each other's tactics scouted. Palm Harajuku was having trouble landing a shin kick, while Harinu Neko's scratch attacks kept getting blocked. Neko broke through with a face scratch first, and she seemed very self-satisfied with it. One thing I noticed before, and is constantly true, is Kei Toribami has gotten better since her time off last year. Her moves lead into each other smoother, less hesitation is what I noticed most. As for the ending of the match, Kei Toribami missed with her flipping second rope senton, which Palm Harajuku dodged and kicked Kaya. A couple moves later, Palm Harajuku hit the most powerful move in TJPW, the Palm de Justice on Kei Toribami, and got the 3-count victory. The second match on the card was a singles match between the ace of TJPW, Miyu Yamashita, versus newcomer Juria Nagano. This was Juria's second wrestling match, and her karate-based wrestling style really stands out in the TJPW roster. Miyu Yamashita's kickboxing-based style is probably the closest, which made this match interesting. Right from the beginning of the match, Juria Nagano was in karate stance, while Miyu Yamashita was almost casual. When Juria Nagano was finally able to get her strike to land through Mayu's guard, it looked like Miyu Yamashita decided to start trying. Miyu Yamashita targeted Juria's legs with kicks, then brought her down with a headlock. When they got back up, Juria and Miyu just started trading strikes. Juria Nagano was throwing palm strikes against Miyu Yamashita's kicks, and Juria got Miyu in position for a striking combo. Miyu dodged a question mark kick by Juria and hit the skull kick, which knocked Juria down, and Miyu Yamashita won by pinfall. I liked what I saw from Juria Nagano in this match. She is an actress, so her facial expressions were great. Kept the match pretty simple so nothing went wrong. The Marika Kobashi retirement tour match was next, this time against Raku. I first would like to correct myself from previous episodes. I thought Marika Kobashi's last match was on the 10th when she teams with Abdullah Kobayashi, but her retirement match is actually on the 17th. That was my error. As for the match itself, I am a bit torn. This match was back and forth. Raku had the advantage early before Marika Kobashi's chops got her the advantage. Raku got back in the match with a face buster before Marika started to spam her basement leg lariats and followed that with a tornado bulldog and got the pinfall victory. Both these wrestlers' styles are on the slow side, which is fine, but when slow style wrestlers fight against each other, it can get a bit boring. Also, Raku's losing was a bit head scratching. But in Japanese wrestling, there is a pretty strict hierarchy, and Kobashi is more senior in wrestling terms, so I guess that is why Marika Kobashi got the victory, even if she is retiring soon. The fourth match on the card was a tag team match. The team of Free Wi-Fi, which is Hikari Noa and Naokakuta, versus the team of Maki Ito with Yuki Kamifuku. This match had an interesting dynamic in that both these teams are on the heel side of the spectrum and are fine with breaking the rules. The match started with Yuki Kamifuku and Naokakuta in the ring, and almost immediately Hikari Noa came into the ring to sneak attack Yuki. Yuki Kamifuku got out of the jam with her patented eye poke and tagged in Maki Ito. Naokakuta wouldn't stay in the corner for Maki Ito to do her cutest in the world call-out, so Yuki Kamifuku came in and held Nao in place with her boot so Maki Ito could ask who is the cutest in the world. It looked like Maki Ito and Yuki Kamifuku would win the match easily. They had done a good job of isolating Naokakuta, but when Maki Ito missed a falling headbutt, Hikari Noa got tagged in and proceeded to shoot off drop kicks. But Free Wi-Fi's advantage in the match didn't last long. Again, it looked like Maki Ito and Yuki Kamifuku were on their way to victory, but Hikari Noa had sneakily removed the corner pad, and Yuki Kamifuku was thrown into the exposed turnbuckle. With some help from Hikari Noa kicks, Naokakuta got the pinfall victory after hitting her backpack stunner. Free Wi-Fi win. It looks like Free Wi-Fi is a team that will stick around for a while. The fifth match on the card was a really good and fun match between Hyper Misao and Miyu Watanabe. Before the bell, Hyper Misao got on the mic and said she wanted to join the Up Up Girls, and handed Miyu her application with some headshots. Miyu looked confused and was reading the application, but it was a trick and Hyper Misao attacked. The bell rings and the match started in earnest, but Miyu Watanabe was still dazed from the sneak attack and Hyper Misao pressed her advantage. Hyper Misao took the match outside the ring and tossed Miyu Watanabe into the post, sprayed her in the face with cold spray, rolled her up in the ring apron, then stuffed her under the floor mat and taped it down. This onslaught of shenanigans by Hyper Misao almost got her a count-out victory, but Miyu Watanabe broke out of her jury-rigged prison and barely beat the 20 count. Back in the ring, Miyu Watanabe started to finally get some offense in against Hyper Misao using her superior strength. She was able to get some body slams, power slams, and backbreakers to land, along with a really cool blooming giant swing by Miyu on Hyper Misao. But Hyper Misao was able to sneak out the win with the double underhook facebuster she rarely uses, and got the pinfall victory. It looks like there may be some plans for Hyper Misao's single push. The next match was a special tag match. The team of Rika Tatsumi with Mahiro Kyoru versus the team of Yuki Arai and Saki Akai. Saki Akai is the only female wrestler on the DDT roster, so it is a bit surprising she showed up in TJPW. It had been almost 2 years since the last time she came. While Saki Akai and Yuki Arai had won Tokyo Sports Newcomer Wrestler of the Year award, Yuki last year and Saki in 2014, so putting these two together is a bit special. Also, I should note, since there is usually confusion, Saki Akai and Saki-sama are totally different people, even if they look similar. Saki Akai is Japanese and Saki-sama is French. This was a fun match and oddly mostly revolved around Mahiro Kyoru. Mahiro Kyoru was the weak link for her team, which frustrated her teammate Rika Tatsumi. Yuki Arai and Saki Akai had been dominating Mahiro Kyoru with boots, and with a dazed Mahiro on the mat, Yuki Arai and Saki Akai posed in the ring. Rika Tatsumi ran in and got both of them out of the ring before dragging the dazed Mahiro Kyoru up off the mat so they could pose for the cameras also. It was a fun visual. Also, Rika Tatsumi slapped Mahiro Kyoru at one point. Rika Tatsumi was doing what she could to keep her tame in the match, trying to take out Saki Akai's leg with dragon screw leg whips and kicking her leg into the post, but Mahiro Kyoru almost immediately when she was tagged in would lose any advantage. The finally axe kick by Yuki Arai won the match for their team via pinfall over Mahiro Kyoru. The team of Yuki Arai and Saki Akai is one I could see beating the current Princess Tag Champs Magi Arabi in the future if they keep them together. If I had to guess, it would be at TJPW's next big arena show. A title match for the Princess Tag Championship was next. Current champs Magi Arabi, which is Yuka Sakazaki, and Mizuki versus challengers Daisy Monkey, which is Arisu Endo and Suzumi. This was a good match and almost felt like a test if the fan favorites Arisu Endo and Suzumi could keep up with more experienced Yuka Sakazaki and Mizuki. This match was fast and the tags were often. Everyone got to shine at some point in the match and both teams had great tag chemistry. There was a Daisy Monkey section against Mizuki that was pretty impressive with both Arisu Endo and Suzumi running around Mizuki, tying her up, rolling her up, then hit her with stereo drop kicks. It was a very nice combination. But Yuka Sakazaki and Mizuki were able to put away Daisy Monkey. A magical girl splash by Yuka followed by a top corner double stomp by Mizuki got Magi Arabi the pinfall victory to retain. Post-match, Free Wi-Fi, Naoka Kuda and Hikari Noa came out to challenge for the tag belts. Yuka Sakazaki and Mizuki said some jokes about how Free Wi-Fi is slow and sketchy and they can't connect, then left. It was later announced that Free Wi-Fi versus Magi Arabi would happen on May 3rd. That brings us to the main event. A Princess of Princess title match between champ Shoko Nakajima versus challenger Yuki Aino. Yuki Aino asked for a title shot after her sister Ndoka Tenma retired, and Shoko accepted. Yuki Aino's journey as a single wrestler without her sister starts. This was a good match, but I should warn you, did have a couple of scary spots, but it seems like everyone was fine and the match continued without issue. For the first section of this match, and actually for most of the match, Shoko Nakajima was dominating Yuki Aino. Yuki was able to show off some of her strength in this match though. She hit a press slam and a couple of impressive gut-wrench suplexes, but Shoko's speed and technique was too much for Yuki Aino to handle. Shoko Nakajima almost methodically broke Yuki Aino down, and after hitting a DDT, flew from the top corner to hit a senton and got the victory to retain and stay champion. After the match, Shoko Nakajima complimented Yuki Aino for her strengths and looks forward to fighting her again. The next challenger for the Princess of Princess title came out, Hyper Misao. Fresh off beating Miyu Watanabe earlier in the show, Hyper Misao wants to fight her former tag partner for the championship. Shoko Nakajima agreed and said she wanted to fight her favorite tag partner. Hyper Misao then hit Shoko Nakajima with a stunner and said the second she agreed to the match it is on, then left to the back now that she got the title shot. Shoko got back up and said Hyper Misao is no longer her favorite. TJPW put on a good show with fun and good wrestling throughout the card. I liked watching the whole card, but you could probably skip the first match and the Mariko Kobashi match if you don't have the time. The other matches on this card were good and had important story implications. The next TJPW show was on the 10th and is one of TJPW's special inspiration shows, which they have about 2 times a year. They are more experimental shows and don't really tie into the storylines. Wrestlers may use moves they don't normally do, or have rare for TJPW match stipulations, like the last Inspiration show had a hardcore match. This show will also have Mariko Kobashi tagging with one of her favorite wrestlers, Deathmatch wrestler Abdullah Kobayashi. This has been the Joshi Wrestling Recap for TJPW April 9th, 2022. Thanks for listening.